In our community and beyond, there may come a time when we realize we were not prepared for the loss of a spouse or a partner. Suddenly, we are faced with questions like, where is that list of usernames and passwords, financial documents? Where are all of our equipment warranties, service agreements, insurance papers? Who services our cars, our HVAC and irrigation systems, and more? These situations can cause us to reflect on how we should have done some things differently, paid more attention, been better prepared. Those are the times when we say to ourselves, wish I would have known. Let's join our Wish I Would Have Known host, Denise Ertel.
In this episode of Wish I Would Have Known, I'm joined by a Tellico Village resident who experienced the sudden death of his spouse while they were on vacation. As he coped with this loss, there were some things he didn't have to stress about, thankfully, because they had planned and prepared and discussed things in advance. Thank you, Jack, for joining us and offering to share your experience and your advice with us. What was it that motivated you and your wife to plan ahead?
Early on in our marriage, my father-in-law passed away at an early age, 59. And having owned his own business, the best description was a disaster. My mother-in-law had no idea about the intricacies of the business. As a result of all that, it took a toll on the family. My parents watched this and decided as meaningful adults, responsible adults, that they would change their path, and decided to put down in writing some of the things that people need to think about well in advance of their passing, either spouse or at the same time. And they did so. And then Stephanie and I became the recipients of that activity. And we then, as we got married and enjoyed our kids, realized that we had a responsibility to do the same thing. So we mirrored what they did.
So what types of things did you prepare, and how did you document these things, and where did you keep this information?
So we sat down and we said, what are the critical things in a bunch of areas? So we looked at the financial area, where are our assets, our bank accounts, our investments, those kinds of things, the numbers of the account, the key contact phone numbers, and the approximate amount of money at the time that were in some of the transactions. And we went on then from there on to wills. And we realized, coming from Illinois, that it would be easier if we had Tennessee language, if you will, to wills and structure, which should help our kids. It certainly helped me with Stephanie's passing to get things done through probate and other activity. In addition, we realized, well, we have automatic withdrawals from checking accounts. And the kids needed to know what those automatic withdrawals would be, as well as the income stream coming in. So we documented that as well. And as we started to go through all that, we said, there's got to be some other things that we have of value, which in our case was a lot of the family heirlooms, which included rugs and vases and other things. So we needed to document that. And we took a lead from my mother, who actually took a photo of each item, gave a description of it, and indicated if it was supposed to go to somebody who I was responsible to give it to. So all of that seemed to work. And then we added on simple things like anything that we did to the house, any major appliance that we purchased. So we developed a log which would indicate the month and the year that we purchased it, or if we added an addition onto the house, what month and year did that happen. So in the event of my demise in this case, the kids can come in and with a realtor can show people exactly what had taken place in the house and the age of the appliances.
Wow, wow. Did you keep this all in a binder or in a locked drawer? Or?
No, we kept it in a binder. It's still in a binder. And all of the kids are aware of where the binder is, and I've gone through it with all 4 of them, so they know exactly where to find it, what the contents are. Each of the kids have a different responsibility. One is the administrator of the will, another is some other function. So all 4 of them have different activity related to the house. So hopefully we've resolved, or at least thinking about resolving, a lot of the things that you worry about when people pass.
Despite all this planning, were there any surprises that you had or things you wish you would have known that you've taken as learnings to pass on to your children?
Well, probably the biggest learning for me was I would buy jewelry, or I inherited jewelry from my parents, particularly my mother and my dad, actually. It goes back to 18-something and 1900s in New York City. As a result of that, I didn't pay enough attention as to who the jewelry belonged to. Now my dilemma is who to give it to. And that's always with 4 kids, 2 girls, and 8 grandkids, it's going to be a problem.
So there'll be some discussions ongoing about this.
Absolutely.
So in closing, is there any other advice you would give to others out there, to other Tellico Village residents, in terms of what they should be talking with their spouses, what they should be communicating with their children, and how they can prepare for the unexpected?
Well, in my case, I think it's critical that you communicate your health activity with your kids. So if you have any major discussions with your physicians on any path forward on handling illnesses, etc., include your kids in, because they need to know. Mm-hmm. It may impact them and their lifestyle and their kids, because it may be hereditary if you have some genes that are impacted by illness. Mm-hmm. So that would be number 1. Number 2, keep those communication paths open, so you have an open dialogue with your kids about it and answer any questions they have. Okay. Other than that, I would just say don't leave your kids a mess. So jump on it, document it.
Do it today.
And do it today.
Thank you so much, Jack, for joining us. We hope this episode of Wish I Would Have Known has been helpful and informative, and will motivate you to have those discussions with your partner and other loved ones in your family. Look for more episodes of Wish I Would Have Known in the future, where we'll bring you other stories from your neighbors in Tellico Village. Thank you for watching.